All right, hello friends and Transformation Challenge peeps. Today, this is Coach Alex, by the way. Today I'm gonna run you through these stretches that I do now at least twice a week. Now it is very important to do a stretching routine. I picked this up over quarantine. Always thought that stretching was more of a myth, obviously, because I was young and dumb, didn't realize that I would actually eventually start having lower back problems, hamstring problems, all that stuff. So this stretching routine, I'm gonna run through it quickly, is targeted more for the hip flexors, the hamstrings, the quads, and of course, most importantly, the lower back. And I do this right now twice a week. I used to do it almost every other day, and it pretty much got rid of my lower back pain that I had gotten from years of back squatting and deadlifting. All right, so I'm gonna run through all these different things. Super important to, have some kind of stretching routine. You don't gotta do this every day, but again, I do this twice a week, once in the beginning, once in the middle or end of the week, all right? So basically the first thing I always do is I always start with my heel stretch, all right? So again, I don't know the names of all these, but this is the one where I put the hips on the ground and I pop the chest up, and this releases a lot of tension on the lower back. Deep breaths in, and to get deeper into the stretch, you exhale. I hold this for about 20 seconds, and then I come up, I bring the heels to the ground, stretching out the calves, and I get deeper in there. And I'll go alternate back and forth. I'll do this for about 2 or 3 times. And then I'll go bring the hips into the heels. All right, this is good for the lats, lower back again. And I'll do this back and forth about 2 or 3 times. Then I'll go straight into my deep runner's lunge stretch. All right, so that back leg stays back, and I'm gonna drive that knee up close to my elbow, and I'm gonna get deep in that one. Again, inhale through the nose, and then to get deeper in, you're gonna exhale. And then try to bring your hips in. Again, this one's good for the hamstrings and the hip flexors, all right? I'm gonna do both sides of that, all right? Once I'm done with that one, I'm gonna throw this mat back. I'm gonna go more for my hip flexors. Back up against the wall. I like to put my feet together here, and I'll push my knees down. Again, very good for the hip flexors. A lot of this stuff gets really tight as we do Orange Theory workouts. Not too much focused on the upper body for this one. There's a lot of stuff you can do for the upper body, but I carry most of my tension down here. So again, I get really tight in the back, the lower back, the hamstrings, and the hip flexors. Press those knees down. Then I come up, and I'm gonna get into a deep quad stretch. So I'm gonna grab my knee, I'm gonna pull it in. I'm gonna stretch out my quads and my hip flexors. This is really good after most leg days, all right? And hold this again for about 20, 30 seconds. Pull in, and exhale as you get deeper in there, all right? I'm gonna do both sides. And then a lot of people do toe reach stretches. When I do this one, I like to do it up against the wall standing, all right? So same thing, butt up against the wall, legs out straight as you can. You're gonna reach down. And as you get deeper in, inhale, exhale, and you'll get deeper in there. You're gonna feel that all down the leg here in your hamstrings. All right, this is a super good stretch for loosening that stuff up. And then sometimes I'll kind of let the upper body hang about 20, 30 seconds, and then I'll slowly come up. I'll do about 2 sets of this here. Slowly come up. And again, I'm not an expert at this. My expert has always been weightlifting, but this is a routine I picked up from YouTube over quarantine. So I don't want to hear from any of you yogis about I'm doing stuff wrong or I should be adding other stuff in. All right. And usually I'll do most of that stuff. And then at the end, again, if something is, still kind of tight, there's one stretch I do, which is really helpful, a little more complicated. I'll bring the knee all the way in here, close to the wall. I'll bring my leg up against here, and then I'll kind of bring up here. So I'll bring my back into my heel. And this is really good for all of this and your lower back here. This one's a little more painful, but this is, again,